Order in downtown Natchitoches, Louisiana. This is at the request of Commissioner Campbell. I thank you, Commissioner Campbell, for inviting us here in your home area. We always love to come up here during Christmas time. Let's all rise. We'll have a prayer and our pledge. Our Father, our God, thank you for another opportunity to visit with you in prayer. We lift these prayers up to you through our Savior Jesus Christ. So we ask your blessings on this work today. We pray that it would please you and keep us all focused on your creation and your will. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Call on Commissioner Lewis, and I'll raise the flag. Is this the right direction?
Other way.
Okay, sorry. Okay, go ahead, Commissioner Lewis.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You know, I was a Boy Scout. I keep this in my billfold. You know what the Boy Scout motto is, huh?
Be prepared.
Be prepared. Okay. Thank y'all for coming. Y'all make yourself at home. It's always good to come up to Natchitoches. Some of you don't know this, but the 5 commissioners, we meet once a year. Most of the time it's in Baton Rouge, but each one of us has a chance to have a meeting in our home district. Coming up in April, I'll have mine back at Toledo Bend. So many of you asked to go back there. But, Commissioner Campbell asked us to come up here, so we're pleased to be here in Natchitoches. So, Catherine, do we have any announcements? I know Commissioner Scametta has one announcement for us.
Yes, sir. Staff does not have any announcements. No, sir.
All right, Commissioner Scametta, go ahead.
Thank you. You know, I've been doing this every year at Christmas, and I'd like to do it again, and it's about the how people from my generation, a lot of us besides the catechism and church, we learned about Christmas on television, and we learned a lot about it through the Peanut special and about Charlie Brown's search for the meaning of Christmas. And Charlie Brown on television asked if there was anyone who knew what Christmas was about. And Linus stepped up and told him that he knew what Christmas was all about. And Linus stepped up and he said, and he asked them to turn the lights on him, and he had got a spotlight. And he said, "And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were sore afraid. And the angel said unto them, Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign unto you. You shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. And suddenly there with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill towards men." And that, my friends, is what Christmas is all about. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stramato. Mr. Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One announcement that I would like to take a moment is to mourn the loss of Miss Dolores Gabriel from Avondale. If you are not aware, there was an explosion, a gas explosion in my district at the beginning of this month, and Ms. Gabriel was an 87-year-old longtime resident of Avondale who sadly lost her life in that explosion. There were 5 others who were injured, so I wanted to take a moment at this meeting to offer a moment of silence for Mrs. Gabriel and all of her family and community in St. Gabriel. Excuse me, in Avondale, I mean.
Mr. Campbell, you have something to say?
Yeah, I do. Thank you. Appreciate everybody coming. I come to Natchitoches every year when I have a chance to. I love Natchitoches. Y'all know this. Natchitoches is older than the city of New Orleans. It's the oldest city in Louisiana Purchase. People here are nice. I'm especially proud of Natchitoches. I have a farm here in Natchitoches Parish. And the people here are very gracious, nice, hospitable people. And nothing's prettier than Natchitoches in the Christmas time. So I hope y'all enjoy your visit. Nice people, nice place, good food. Nothing like it in Louisiana. Nothing like it in Louisiana. Thank you for coming, and I'll see y'all here next year if I'm able to come. See you here next year. Thank you.
Mr. Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One note, recently Louisiana's Department of Energy and Natural Resources was granted and funded $156 million to deploy rooftop and community solar here across Louisiana. They have named this plan Solar for Y'all. I've been in talks with the department, our staff, and the grantees, and it has come to our attention that part of getting these projects moving will involve some kind of process here at the commission and an evaluation of how this program will work within our rules. The first tranche of this dollars are being planned in my district for New Orleans, seemingly for policy clarity reasons. And that being the case, I like to us have a position on our jurisdictional customers in the rest of the state to find a solution to ensure that we also receive deployment of these projects in the most efficient way possible and fully capture the opportunities of the Solar for Y'all grant program that presents to us. So I've been asking, and I am asking staff to work with Secretary Gray and the Louisiana Department of Energy and Natural Resources to get a better sense of where we fit into this process, sketch out a roadmap, and let us know if any docket or procedures have to happen here at the Commission to ensure the remaining areas in Louisiana can receive some of this funding. So I just wanted to make that announcement for staff to see if we can continue working with the Department of Energy and Natural Resources to ensure that the rest of our districts can receive some of this grant funding that is going to be deployed next year.
I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate you doing that. And you're right. You're right.
Catherine, do you have any questions or any comments about that?
No, sir. I can get with Commissioner Lewis after, and we've already been talking with Department of Energy and Natural Resources and Secretary Gray, so we could easily continue those conversations.
All right. Are there any other announcements? I had the privilege of having dinner last night with the president of the university here at Northwestern, Jimmy Genovese, and he was a former Supreme Court justice. And I think they've really got a good new man here to lead the university. I know I attended Northwestern, and so did Commissioner Campbell. I think he finished. I come up a little bit short, but anyhow, we both have attended here. And Commissioner Campbell, one of the things that the new president's going to be doing is twisting some arms for the alumni to raise some more money to make this a greater university. So just wanted to give you a warning, and he'll be calling you. All right. Any other announcements? Hearing none, seeing none. Ms. Catherine, you get started.
Yes, sir. So exhibit number 2 is undocketed, and it is the 2025 proposed business and executive session schedule. It's a discussion and possible vote to accept the 2025 proposed schedule. The proposed schedule is as follows: January 15th, February 19th, March 26th, April 16th, May 21st, June 18th. There will be no meeting in July. August 20th, September 17th, October 22nd, November 19th, and December 17th. And staff recommends that the commission adopt the 2025 proposed schedule.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Scametta, seconded by Commissioner Lewis for this new schedule for next year. Is there any comments or questions? I've got a comment. We have April 16th. We'll have it at Toledo Bend, at Cypress Bend. So just tell all the folks, April the 15th, get your fishing poles and shorts and flip-flops on and come on up to Toledo Bend. We're going to have another great meeting. I always enjoy that, and most of you do. So thank you for that.
And Commissioner, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, on that note too, for the rest of you, I know Commissioner Campbell said December he'd like to have here again, so just kind of be aware. Okay. And I've talked to Commissioner-elect Couson, and he's already looking at a potential Lafayette meeting maybe in the late summer. So, and he's seen these dates too and is good with them. Just make sure y'all know that as well. I shared them with him. So, but yeah, let us know as soon as you can. You know, we've got to plan these things, but that gives us plenty of lead on the April meeting.
Okay. By the way, I forgot to mention, Commissioner Green's on his way. He's coming up in an airplane, and it was kind of fogged in Baton Rouge, but I understand he's traveling, so hopefully he should be here pretty soon. And this will be his last meeting, so we really congratulate him for his service. Okay, Catherine.
So moving to exhibit number 3, it's docket number S37227. This is Point Capee Electric Membership Corporation's request for a letter of non-opposition to borrow funds for the Cooperative's construction work plan. Discussion and possible vote on a staff report and recommendation. On June 4th of 2024, Point Capee filed its request for a letter of non-opposition, and notice was filed in the Commission's bulletin with no interventions received. In its request, Point Capee seeks to enter into a loan agreement valued at approximately $30 million for a 5-year period with the FFB at a favorable interest rate compared to other lenders. The long-term loan allows the company to continue to make its capital improvements and eventually secure funding from RUS. On November 26th of 2024, staff filed its report and recommendation into the record, where they concurred with Point Capee's assertion that the request is in the public interest and will have no adverse effects on rates and terms of service conditions for Point Capee's members. Staff further recommended that the Commission expresses non-opposition to Point Capee's request, subject to the Commission's standard conditions regarding loans. On December 3rd of 2024, Point Capee filed correspondence into the record indicating their acceptance of staff's report without objection. As there are no unresolved issues, staff recommends that the Commission accept staff's report and recommendation filed into the record on November 26th of 2024.
Move to accept staff recommendation.
I'll second.
Moved by Commissioner Scametta, seconded by Commissioner Lewis. Is there any discussion? Hearing none.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Really quickly, I just wanted to publicly thank PC Electric for pursuing these low-interest sources of funding. I know it is a hard thing, and I know some utilities hesitate to go for this federal funding because of the hoops that you have to go through, and there's a lot of accountability and new eyes and work being done. And so I just wanted to thank Point Copiah Electric for not being, for not scaring off on this process. And I celebrate your dedication to your members to keep the focus on the cheapest source of capital to fund these projects and to keep their lights on. So I did not want the record to go unmentioned of the hard work I know you're having to put into this, but I think it's the best decision. So I wanted to publicly thank you, Myron, for your leadership in doing that.
I'd also like to thank Myron for his hard work moving things forward. So number 3 is approved. It's in the books. Number 4.
Exhibit number 4 is docket number S37329. This is Northeast Louisiana Power Cooperative's request for a letter of non-opposition to refinance the current balance of the cooperative's line of credit. It's a discussion and possible vote on a staff report and recommendation. On July 15th of 2024, Northeast filed its request for a letter of non-opposition, which was published in the Commission's official bulletin, and no interventions were received. In the request, NELCO sought to enter into a loan agreement valued at approximately $4 million with CoBank for a 5-year fixed 30-year amortization. The loan would refinance the balance of an existing line of credit with CoBank that NELCO currently maintains at a higher market interest rate of a variable 8.28%. On November 26 of 2024, staff filed its report and recommendation into the record where they concurred with NELCO's assertion that the request is in the public interest and will have no adverse effects on rates and terms of service and conditions for NELCO's members. Staff further recommend that the Commission expresses non-opposition to the request subject to the Commission's standard conditions regarding loans. As there are no unresolved issues, staff recommends that the Commission accept the staff report and recommendation filed into the record on November 26 of 2024.
Move to accept staff recommendation.
I'll second.
Moved by Commissioner Scametta, seconded by Commissioner Lewis. Any discussion? I want to thank Jeff Churchwell and all the Northeast folks for their hard work. Number 4 is approved. And number 5.
Exhibit number 5 is docket number S37377. It's Baton Rouge Water Works Company doing business as Baton Rouge Water Companies. Request for a letter of non-opposition to enter into a note purchase agreement. It's a discussion and possible vote on a staff report and recommendation. On September 10th of 2024, Baton Rouge Water's request was filed pursuant to the Commission's general order dated November 13th of 1996, wherein it sought to enter into this purchase agreement, which would be used to finance capital improvement projects. The request was published in the Commission's official bulletin, and no interventions were received. The note issuance will be comprised of senior notes totaling approximately $30 million and will have a bullet maturity of up to 30 years with semi-annual interest payments. On December 4th of 2024, staff filed its report and recommendation into the record, and based on the analysis conducted therein, staff concurred that the transaction is in the public interest and have no immediate effect on rates or terms of service conditions for Baton Rouge Water customers. Staff does understand that the transaction may have an impact on future rates and will be subject to review in Baton Rouge Water's future FRP reviews if a continuance is requested. Otherwise, it will be subject to review in subsequent rate cases. Staff also recommended that the Commission expresses non-opposition to the request authorizing Baton Rouge Water Company with regulated subsidiaries as guarantors to enter into the note purchase agreement, subject to the Commission's standard conditions on loans. As there are no unresolved issues, staff recommends that the Commission accept staff's report and recommendation filed into the record on December 4th of 2024.
Move to accept staff recommendation.
Commissioner Scametta moved to accept staff recommendation on Exhibit 5, seconded by Commissioner Lewis. Is there any objection or further discussion? Hearing none, Exhibit 5 is approved.
Exhibit number 6 is docket number S37378. It's Louisiana Water Company's request for a letter of non-opposition to enter into a note purchase agreement. It's a discussion and possible vote on staff's report and recommendation. On September 10th of 2024, LAWCO filed its instant request pursuant to the Commission's general order dated November 13th of 1996, and which was published in the Commission's official bulletin with no interventions. LAWCO seeks to enter into a note purchase agreement to finance capital improvement projects, and the note issuance will be comprised of senior notes totaling approximately $7 million and will have a bullet maturity of up to 30 years with semi-annual interest rates. On December 4th of 2024, staff filed its report and recommendation into the record, and based on the analysis conducted therein, concurred that the transaction is in the public interest and will have no immediate effect on rates or terms of service and conditions for LAWCO's customers. However, the transaction may have an impact on future rates and will be subject to review in LAWCO's future FRP reviews if a continuance is requested or in a subsequent rate review case. Staff also recommended that the Commission expresses non-opposition to the request subject to the Commission's standard conditions regarding loans. As there are no unresolved issues, staff recommends that the Commission accept the staff report and recommendation filed into the record on December 4th of 2024.
Move to accept staff recommendation.
Second.
Commissioner Scametta moves to accept staff recommendation, seconded by Commissioner Lewis. Any discussion or abstention? Hearing none, Exhibit 6 is approved. And I want to ask for the opinion of the commissioners on Exhibit 7 is going to be a lengthy discussion. Y'all have any problem with moving it to the last vote?
I want to wait till Mr. Green gets here.
All right, good. So that's perfect. Well, let's, Ms. Catherine, we'll move 7 to the end, would you
Yes, sir.
please? All right.
So moving to exhibit number 8, we have docket number U37441. This is 1803 Electric Cooperative's petition for qualification of 1803 Electric Cooperative facilities as transmission facilities and approval of transfer of functional control of transmission facilities to MISO. This is a discussion and possible vote to retain Stone Pigman for an under $50,000 solicitation. 1803 filed the instant request with the Commission on November 19th, and upon review, staff determined the assistance of outside counsel and consultant was necessary. Also, based on staff's review, staff determined an initial review and recommendation on 1803's request could be completed for under $50,000, assuming there is no intervener opposition or a contested hearing is necessary. Given 1803 request is substantially rated to MISO, and staff's opinion is that the analysis can be completed for under $50,000, staff solicited Stone Pigman pursuant to the Commission's November 10th, 2024 general order. Staff solicitation, in response to staff solicitation, Stone Pigman responded with a bid proposal of $48,000 in fees and $1,500 in expenses with discounted hourly rates. Staff recommends that the Commission retain Stone Pigman for $48,000 in fees and $1,500 in expenses for a total budget not to exceed of $49,500.
Move to accept staff recommendation.
Second.
Commissioner Scametta moves to accept staff recommendation on Exhibit 8. Seconded by Commissioner Lewis, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any discussion, objection? Hearing none, Exhibit 8 is in the history books.
Exhibit 9 is the same docket number, but it's a discussion and possible vote to retain United Professionals Company, also for an under $50,000 solicitation. And given the same analysis and same assumption, staff solicited UPC pursuant to the Commission's November 10th, 2024 general order. In response to that solicitation, UPC responded with a bid proposal of $47,500 in fees and $2,000 in expenses that were discounted hourly rates. Staff recommends that the Commission retain UPC for $47,500 in fees and $2,000 in expenses for a total budget not to exceed of $49,500.
Move to accept staff recommendation.
Second.
Commissioner Scametta moves to accept staff recommendation on Exhibit 9, seconded by Commissioner Lewis. Any discussions? Hearing none, pass. Number 10.
Exhibit number 10 is reports, resolutions, and ratifications. We do have just two ratifications this month. The first is a discussion and possible vote to ratify interventions of the Commission in RTO-related or other FERC regulatory proceedings. And this is pursuant to the scope of work and retention of Stone Pigman and United Professionals at the 2021 B&E in February for MISO, SPP, and ERSC participation. And due to the short deadlines allowed for these interventions, if advance Commission approval is not possible, the Executive Secretary, on the recommendation of either UPC or Stone Pigman, may authorize the initial interventions, comments, or protests subject to ratification at a following B&E. Dockless interventions were filed on the Commission's behalf for the purpose of monitoring issues related to MISO in FERC docket numbers ER 25-507 and ER 25-579. Staff recommends that the Commission ratify these actions.
Move to ratify the actions of the staff.
Seconded by Commissioner Chairman. Motion by Commissioner Scametta. Any objection? Hearing none, it's ratified.
We also, I'm sorry.
Commissioner,
Not yet.
come on.
I need to say something.
Okay. Go ahead, Catherine.
I apologize for not recognizing a couple of people we're all familiar with. Bill Robinson's here today from Shreveport. Bill worked for me 20 years at the Public Service Commission. He's always been interested and has always been a real forward thinker on renewable energy. Bill worked with me very hard, helped me a lot. And then Malcolm Smoke is here today. Malcolm is the former president of SWEPCO, and he drove down from Bossier today to talk to us. He's going to testify a little bit later. And Malcolm did a great job up at SWEPCO. We all liked him. And so appreciate you coming, Malcolm, and I appreciate you coming, Bill, to say hello to a lot of your old friends. Thank you.
Welcome back, Bill and Malcolm. I'd also like to recognize a Northwestern graduate that's here. It's on my staff. He's just visiting here. Clint Person. Clint, stand up and let everybody see you. He's been with us several years. A great guy. And a Northwestern graduate. Also, Clint was president of the Republican college Republicans in Northwestern too. That's another good one there. Okay, got to keep a balance with the other party, you know. Okay, go ahead, Kathy.
Yes, sir. So we are still on exhibit number 10. We have an OMS vote ratification. It's a discussion and possible vote to ratify votes taken by Commissioner Skrmetta, acting as the Commission's representative on the Board of Directors of the Organization of MISO States. Staff followed the protocol set forth in Special Order 17/2019 to consult with the Executive Secretary and the Chairman and to make a recommendation to Commissioner Skrmetta prior to the votes. The protocols also require that the votes be ratified at a following B&E. OMS prepared an answer in FERC docket number EL 14-12 and EL 15-45 opposing the request for late intervention and request for rehearing by Wires and the Edison Electric Institute in the FERC remand proceedings related to MISO's transmission tariff ROE. Based on staff's recommendation, the Commission voted in support of the OMS answer. OMS prepared an answer in support of the Commission rehearing request in FERC docket number EL 14-12 and EL 15-45 related to correction of the FERC's use of the CAP-M model. The Commission voted in support of that rehearing request. OMS prepared an answer opposing the rehearing request of several MISO transmission owners in FERC docket number EL 14-12 and EL 15-45, and the OMS answer supports extended customer refunds, which are being challenged by the transmission owners of the rehearing request. The Commission voted in support of that as well. Staff recommends that the Commission ratify the Commission's votes taken on December 3rd and December 9th of 2024, which supported additional refunds to customers and corrections to the CAP-M model.
Skrmetta abstains.
Skrmetta abstains.
Motion to ratify Commissioner Skrmetta's votes at OMS.
Chair will second that. Any other discussion or objection? Hearing none, that vote is ratified. Okay.
Exhibit number 11 is docket number U37193. This is Entergy Louisiana's application for approval of Magnolia Power LLC's capacity credits purchase agreement, including cost recovery. It's a discussion and possible vote on an uncontested stipulated settlement at the request of Commissioner Green. On May 3rd of 2024, Entergy filed the instant application seeking certification in accordance with the Commission's general order dated September 20th of 1983 of a 10-year capacity credit purchase agreement for 290 megawatts of capacity-related benefits from Magnolia, located in Iberville Parish. In response to the application, timely interventions were received from LUG, the Alliance, 1803 Electric Cooperative, and Occidental Chemical. In its application, Entergy indicated a projected need of additional long-term generating capacity over the course of the planning horizon, and that Magnolia CCPA helps to ensure that company is able to reasonably satisfy its needs for capacity to meet its MISO resource adequacy and long-term resource planning requirements in the near term. The CCPA did not originate from a traditional utility-issued RFP. In August of 2023, Kendall Energy issued a RFP soliciting bids for capacity energy or bundled energy and capacity for the Magnolia facility. Following an economic analysis conducted by Entergy, it submitted an offer for the 290 megawatts of capacity credits with a 10-year term commencing on June 1st of 2025. After discovery and filing of testimony, the parties began settlement negotiations, and on December 9th of 2024, the parties executed and filed an uncontested stipulated settlement term sheet pursuant to Commission's Rule 6. The major terms are as follows. The Magnolia CCPA serves the public convenience and necessity, is in the public interest, and is therefore prudent in accordance with the Commission's 1983 General Order, and either meets the requirements for an alternative market-based mechanism or procedure required by the MBM, or in the alternative is exempt from any applicable unmet requirements of the MBM order, and meets the Commission's public interest standard. The costs incurred by Entergy under the Magnolia CCPA are deemed eligible for recovery from customers subject to provisions of the term sheet, and to the extent Entergy acts prudently in its decision-making and in exercising its rights and remedies under the Magnolia CCPA, Entergy and its shareholders shall not be responsible beyond the rights and remedies specified therein, absent imprudence on Entergy's part. Entergy also has an ongoing affirmative obligation to prudently manage and administer the Magnolia CCPA for the benefit of its customers through the term of the contract. As there are no unresolved issues, staff recommends that the Commission approve the uncontested stipulated settlement filed into the record on December 9th, 2024.
In the absence of Commissioner Green, I'd like to make the motion. We
Second.
accept exhibit number 11, seconded by Commissioner Skrmetta. Any other discussion or comments? Hearing none, 11 is in the books.
Exhibit number 12 is docket number U37212. This is 1803 Electric Cooperative's application for approval of revisions to wholesale formula rate tariff adjustment clauses and formula rate plan. It's a discussion and possible vote pursuant to Rule 57 of the Commission's rules for an uncontested stipulated settlement, so this will need 2 votes, and it's at the request of the chair. On May 21st of 2024, 18 filed the instant application which sought to revise its initial wholesale rate tariff adjustment clauses and formula rate plan in order to maintain the financial covenants and cash flow necessary for its operations and to ensure the provisions of reliable service to its members at the lowest reasonable cost. Notice of the application was published in the Commission's official bulletin and no interventions were received. Following discovery, staff filed its testimony, and on October 15th, 2024, 1803 filed rebuttal testimony. Thereafter, the parties entered into settlement negotiations, and on December 10th of 2024, 1803 and staff entered into an uncontested stipulated settlement, which was filed into the record, seeking a December vote. The major terms of the settlement are as follows. 1803 is authorized to amend the wholesale rate tariff and its power cost adjustment and its FRP to be consistent with the settlement. And 1803 is authorized to implement a transmission and distribution cost adjustment clause, which provides for the recovery of MISO network transmission service costs, other applicable third-party transmission service costs, and own transmission and distribution functional plant and operating costs incurred prior to provide service pursuant to the tariff. As there are no unresolved issues, staff recommends that the Commission, 1, exercise its original and primary jurisdiction pursuant to Rule 57 to consider this matter, and 2, accept the uncontested stipulated settlement filed into the record on December 10th of 2024.
Move to bring the matter up under Rule 57.
Second.
Request for 57 from Commissioner Scametta, seconded by Commissioner Lewis. Any objections or discussion? Here none, move to 57.
Move to accept the uncontested stipulated settlement.
Commissioner Scametta moves to accept Exhibit 12. And there's a second. And we have
I'll second.
okay, the second by Commissioner Lewis. And so we have a discussion from Commissioner Campbell.
Somebody want to tell me about 1803, where we are and what's the progress and what's the...
Some representative from 1803 come up. We'll do a little Q&A here. We know who you are, but state your name for the record, please.
Commissioners, Kyle Marino of Manuel Cantrell Law Firm on behalf of 1803 Electric Cooperative.
Kyle, you represent 1803?
Yes, sir.
Brian Hobbs, Commissioners, good morning. CEO at 1803 Electric Cooperative.
And how many co-ops are in this? 5?
So we have 5 member co-ops that are taking all requirement service, power supply and delivery. And we have 1 member co-op that is taking delivery services only.
You know, when we passed this, I voted for it. And we voted for it under understanding that y'all were going to have cheaper rates. That was what you were telling people. And is that still the truth?
So, as I've said it several times, everybody's costs have gone up. But when we look at our costs compared to the other options that we looked at the time, we are still lower.
You know, you were telling people, and I voted for it, and I was glad to hear it was going to be 20% cheaper than the investor-owned company. So are you still going to be there?
We just, about 4 months ago, did an analysis where we went back and looked at all the proposals that we had at the time and did a comparison of where we're projecting our costs and those costs, and it was about 17% difference.
About how much?
17.
Cheaper
Yes.
than energy, for example, down your way?
Not Entergy, lower cost compared to the other options we had at the time we were arranging our power supply.
I didn't understand it that way. I understood that y'all were going to be 20%, which I understand is 17, 20% cheaper than the investor-owned companies. That's what I heard when y'all wanted to form this 1803.
Yeah, I mean, the comparison that was made with the 20% was as opposed to the other the other offers that were made. That's what it was about.
So what are you going to be now? You're going to be cheaper than the investor-owned companies?
I haven't done that specific comparison because, again, 1803 is wholesale cost only. And then at the retail level, each distribution co-op has their cost on top of that.
Well, you ought to do that, because let me, look, I voted for it, but I voted for it with your word, being very specific, that 1803 was going to be cheaper than the investor-owned companies by 20%. That's what you said.
Well, sir, I went back at the request of the commission and looked at the testimony at the time, and the testimony was that we're about 20% lower than the next best option that we had as part of that certification. And we looked at it a few months ago, and we're still about 17% below that option.
So, but, let me ask you a question. Maybe you can't answer, but I'm not trying to, I'm just seeking information, okay? Energy Louisiana at 1,000 kilowatts is 12.6 cents. For 1250, they're 15.1 cents. 1,500 or 17 cents. You're going to be you're going to be a little cheaper than that, do you not think?
So again, we're the wholesale cost component only. Each distribution co-op adds their retail cost to operate their system on top of our wholesale costs. And we have the delivery cost at the transmission level as well. Our wholesale cost, when we looked at it at the request of this commission, is still projected below what our other option were at that time. And that's what we've represented.
Well,
And Commissioner, I guess the answer to the question you're asking is they haven't done that analysis. And I guess, Brian, you can, I mean, that would involve also doing a projection of what the IOU's rates will be, So, I mean, it's a different analysis than what was asked and what was, what the comparison was in the first place.
it was specifically known, one of your main selling points, you're going to be cheaper than the other people. The rates would be cheaper. I'm talking about bottom line rates. I'm not talking about wholesale rates, this rate, and add-ons and all that. That it was going to be cheaper. Why don't you say something? This man from back here, he knows what he was talking about. He asked me to vote for this.
Yes, sir, I did. Jeff Churchwell, Northeast Louisiana Power Co-op, president of 1803 board. Thank y'all for having us. Commissioner, what I can tell you is when we look at our rates today and we present it to our board, our rates range anywhere from 6.8 cents up to 8 cents wholesale cost, all in. Transmission charges, every component of our bill that Northeast gets. So they put it in, they break it out into per kilowatt hour charge, and you can see what our retail rate is compared to everybody else each month. I guess it's month over month. Every now and then somebody will knock us off the lowest in the state perch, but what we see is a rate stability for Northeast and its membership through 1803 relative to what we have today. And what that's going to mean is that volatility in our wholesale rate that we're getting currently is going to be mitigated through us being a member of 1803. It's going to have a positive impact on the membership at Northeast.
Well, I remember you saying that, and I'm looking at your rates here. For 1,000 kilowatts, you're at 11, which is good compared to the rest of them. And so you think this is going to help you?
Yes, sir. I believe that we'll see that come down some for sure. Just because of the rate stability that we're gonna
Who
have.
who are the other people in 1803? What other
So we
co-ops?
have Washington St. Tammany,
Hold on. Okay,
Salika is a member,
okay.
Beauregard Electric.
Boy, Sleeka needs some help.
They're gonna take advantage of the rate, of this rate stability as well. Yes, sir. Beauregard Electric,
They need help too.
yes, sir. They're gonna get it.
They're ahead of, way ahead.
Yes, sir.
At 14 cents. Well, anyway,
And Claiborne Electric is our fifth
yeah,
of, in the all requirements piece. And then we have Point Capilla Electric, or PC Electric, is our transmission. They're only taking the transmission services at this time.
well, I was just wanting an update because you're still saying you're gonna be cheaper, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what you said at first, and
And you can hold me to it. Yeah. I know you will.
I've been holding you to it.
I know. And I don't mind it.
I voted for it because you told me what it was gonna do.
I believe it with all my heart. You know, we've added some services from the original.
Why don't you tell your fellow members, give them the secret of your operation, they could use it.
I will. Just please don't make me do it right here, right now.
They need some help.
I'll put it in a work paper. How about that?
Well, I'd appreciate if you, I'm not kidding you.
We're proud that we're able to
Yeah,
be as effective as we are, as far as low cost as we are on the residential side.
yeah, it helps everybody. Y'all represent rural people
Yes, sir.
and the most.
Poor folks.
Well, most poverty in Louisiana, that's my speech, not yours.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Rural people need the help because that's where people that don't make as much money usually live. But anyway, I appreciate your testimony and thank you for keeping your word. Thank you.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah,
while I have you?
go ahead, Commissioner Lewis.
Can you, Brian, can you explain just what was the expedited reason this needed to be in place by January 1st?
So, when we filed for this docket on the rate approval in May, we were working then to add Point Capilla as a transmission-only member, and our rate at that time would not appropriately allocate costs for a transmission-only member. This rate does that.
Okay.
Really the only other thing that this rate generally does is we're moving into operation now, so it creates an operational margin.
Okay. And on that $4 million in new marginal revenue, how was that figure determined? What exactly will go towards the funding the co-op's operations?
I'm sorry, ask your question again.
I said on the $4 million in new marginal revenue, I just want to know what's operationally going to the co-op. So how did you come up with that figure, I guess is a better way of asking that question.
It's just based on trying to develop operating reserves at 1803, days of cash on hand. We'll be flowing between 25 and 30 plus $1 million a month. And so if you have hiccups in payment streams, et cetera, we need operating margin just to be able to cover those.
Okay. Thank you. That makes sense. I just wanted to clarify for the record on that, but thank you for your work.
I feel like that's the piece that adds the stability to it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wonderful. No further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Jeff, thank you for coming up. And just for the public's knowledge, 1803, as we've talked about, is 5 co-ops in Louisiana. And Jeff Churchwell has been selected as the leader of the 5. And you're the ones that are going to have to go back to your board of directors and explain his costs. And hopefully you'll be able to have a celebration party that the rates are lower. One of the co-ops that's in my area is Beauregard. Is Beauregard the largest of the 5? They have 43,000 meters, I believe.
WST, Washington St. Tammany by meter is the largest. I would say Beauregard, because of the industrial
Volume of
load,
sales.
yeah, they're, I would say bigger from that standpoint.
And we have a new leader at Beauregard.
He's sitting back there, by the way.
He's Mike Vitor. Where's Mike? Oh, no, he just stepped in. We were fixing to embarrass him and get him up front here for the first dang meeting. Where is it, Mike? Is he out in the hall? Is Mike Vitor out there?
Make him sing his favorite Christmas carol.
Yeah, okay. And Mike's from Moss Bluff. He came out of the business community, which I'm really excited that we've got some real business people in this thing, not a bunch of politicians or electrical engineers. But okay, I guess Mike's off the hook. If I see him come back in here, I'm going to get him up here so y'all can see his face. Thanks for what y'all do at 1803 and Northeast and all the 5 co-ops. So we're looking forward to some new rates. So thank y'all for coming.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Mr. Lewis?
Since we introduced some people, I see a good old friend in the audience, former State Senator Mike Walsworth, who I grew up normally with him sitting up here and me looking at him, fussing at him, so I hope he doesn't come and get some revenge on me for years of torture at the legislature, but just wanted to say hello to my dear friend, Senator Walsworth.
Good to see you, Walsworth, from Monroe. I know you're excited about the Meta deal. That's right there in your backyard. And yeah, Mike and I met 30 years ago when we were trying to build a party that was bottom of the rung, and we kind of got up where we're fighting strength now. So thank you, Mike. Okay.
I grew up fighting him.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see where we go from here.
Exhibit 7.
Oh, are we down? Going back to 7?
We are back to Exhibit 7, yes, sir.
All right. Okay, roll up your sleeves here.
Oh, what's going on?
Where is all that? I guess it's just Lewis and I.
Well, no,
So I guess I need to get a parliamentarian opinion there where we go from here, yeah?
no, he just walked out the
Jometis,
door.
he's in the room, so.
Well,
No, he's in the room. He's in the
Okay,
threshold.
well, let's rock and roll. Go ahead.
Read the internet. I
Okay.
guess we'll just
Okay, go
back
ahead,
to
Ms.
the internet.
Catherine.
So exhibit number 7 is docket number U36669. This is Southern Spirit Transmission's request for certification or the alternative exemption of the Southern Spirit Transmission project pursuant to the Commission's general order dated October 10th of 2013. It's a discussion and possible vote on a motion by the Marston family for rehearing. This was exhibit 6 on the November business and executive session agenda. So this, just to clarify procedurally, this will have 2 votes. The first is a vote to grant or deny the rehearing. If the rehearing is granted, then you may hear the substance and vote on substance of the actual order that will be issued. So there are 2 potential votes here. I just wanted to clarify for the record.
Ms. Bowman, for the record, if we do grant, for instance, the first vote, are we required to have the rehearing in this meeting, or can we set a different date for rehearing?
If a majority of the commissioners would like to set a different date for an actual rehearing, that can also happen.
Okay,
It does
so we're not
no.
required to take up the rehearing in this meeting?
No, sir.
Thank you.
We also have public comment from several cards, so I'm not sure if you would like me just to read our synopsis first, if we'd like to hear from the public first, however the chair would like to handle this one.
And I know there's some discussion going on right now, so I don't know if we want to wait for that or it's up to y'all.
Should we stand at ease for a minute? Should we stand at ease for a minute?
All right, let's just take a 5-minute break.
5-minute break.
5-minute recess, okay.
5-minute recess.
5-minute break.
We are on exhibit number 7.
You can ask Kyle and Gillum to come up because they said they might have a deal. Kyle and Gillum said they might have a deal.
Yeah, Bobby or
Kyle, Bobby?
John.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, we'll get Bobby and John.
Tell us if we're going to have a Merry Christmas.
And just for the record, it's docket number U36669.
Good morning, John Grinton on behalf of Southern Spirit Transmission
You might have
LLC.
to move that closer to you. It's a little...
John with Southern Spirit?
Yes, Commissioner.
All right, anybody else?
Kyle Marino on behalf of Southern Spirit.
And Bobby Gillum and Jonathan McCartney on behalf of Mr. Marston.
To quote John McLean, welcome to the party, pal.
We can make this fairly short, but I think we've all made some progress, and broader progress. The parties, what they're requesting and asking is to pass, but announcing an agreement in principle. And the agreement is generally as follows. Number one, there's the Marston property, and there's the Star B Ranch, and that's another party who intervened, and they're in communication with both of those parties. They're not going to condemn any of those properties. They've agreed not to condemn properties. And also there's a broader agreement that's not their plan to condemn other properties.
Hold up, well, let him get through.
And then number two, they're going to look at, they're looking at alternate routes as we speak. We won't get into what all they are, but they're looking at alternate routes and talking to other folks on a voluntary basis, I think, is a statement. And in the interim, we're going to be papering that agreement with our folks, and that would make the pending motion moot and hopefully resolve other issues so they can proceed with their discussions and negotiations at whatever route they choose.
Well, so simply put, we'll take this up in January after.
Bobby, can you put the mic a little closer to you, please?
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
It may be by January, if we get all of that resolved. I guess we could leave it on the docket, but it may very likely be resolved by then if the parties, get this papered up. And that's the idea, to announce this as an agreement in principle as to how we proceed.
Yeah, and my appreciation is if we're able to resolve it, it doesn't necessarily put it back up. Because if they really resolve it, they will withdraw the rehearing, then the order stands, and that's the end.
I got a question.
So, Commissioner Campbell, go ahead.
Mr. Gillum, do you represent the people, Star B Ranch?
No, we do not.
Who does?
But one of the parties is here.
So y'all have agreed, your people, that the lawyers have agreed that for their clients, this is a good deal, right? Yes, that's what you're telling me.
They have agreed in principle to this, yes.
So what about the old people that ain't got a lawyer? What do they think about this? You hadn't asked them, have you? No, we ain't asked the folks. We've asked people who got lawyers here. You want to put it off, okay? I just want the record to show that y'all are representing your client.
Correct.
I don't represent your client. I'm representing 1 million people in North Louisiana, not just 2. So I hear what you're saying, and you want to put this off.
And I would just say what we, correct me if I'm saying anything wrong, but we are representing the client, and there's another party who's here and intervened, and he is here hearing what we're doing, and also part of that agreement in principle is to be negotiating with others, not to condemn others.
Mr. Gillum, if you were the Public Service Commissioner and I was a lawyer, you'd be for this?
Well, I think one key point is this. And we understand what the legislation is, but a lot of fighting can go on through the courts and through the legislature on either side. So I think as long as the parties are negotiating to reach an agreement, and they would have to agree by their own free will, that is something I could support. Because it's not requiring, it's not condemning, and so that's a big issue, and getting that resolved is important.
I've worked with you when you represent SWEPCO,
Yes, sir.
and I understand you're a skilled lawyer, and you represent big companies, you know, which is fine. They gotta have somebody that represents them. And our job is to ask the tough questions. You put me in a hell of a spot here. And I don't know. I'm not going to do this because I hadn't talked to those other people. And I can't make a deal to put it on somebody else that I don't know where it's going, and I hadn't talked to those folks. That's all I'm saying. But look, you got good people, and they're trying to negotiate, and I understand that. But, Mr. Chairman, I can't vote for this.
Okay, Mr. Bob, Mr. Gillum, I would be on the other side of that. I got a different opinion than that. Isn't this between the people who are building the line and the landowner working together to lease their property? Isn't it really that simple?
Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
Okay,
Can the parties, I mean,
right.
there's,
So each landowner, you know, I'm from North Louisiana. We had property in North Louisiana, and I'm really confused. If someone comes to my house and wants to rent some of my land, you know, it's between me and the folks that have got to write the check. And the Public Service Commission doesn't have any business telling these landowners that they can or can't approve of the right-of-way through their land. Isn't that true?
well, that's what, and I think that's what the parties have all,
Okay. So,
that's what we've been to the legislature for and had discussions with each other, and that's where we're at now. That's where
well,
we
this
are.
commissioner doesn't have any problem with your representation and what you've said so far. Thank you. All right. Now here, brother, Mr. Lewis, Commissioner Lewis.
Thank you. So, Mr. Gillum, I'm trying to make sure I understand the process because I want to be here all day. I didn't bring a cot, so I don't want to sleep here tonight. So you represent Mr. Marston, who filed the motion to rehear. And so what you were requesting for us today is to not take up the motion to rehear while you work out the agreement in principle, so we would, in technicality, pass or defer.
Yeah.
And then while you work out that agreement, potentially, if the terms are settled, then your client would withdraw his filed motion of rehearing. Is that, I just want to make sure from the process that I'm understanding what you're asking us right now.
That's correct.
Okay.
Based on the agreement in principle, which covers all the points I just discussed, yes.
Okay, so we would defer this matter, potentially have it on January, but if the agreement is worked out in between now and January 15th, then you would file within the commission a withdrawal of a motion to rehear.
That is correct, and the reason we put it on the record, all of us, because, you know, once you put it on the record in our agreement in principle, it means something for both sides, so yes, that's what we're trying to do is advance that process.
So Mr. Chairman, I think hearing that, I think the appropriate motion now is to defer item 7 until January.
I think I could second that, but she better got out ahead of you. Okay, we got a motion and a second. Is there any objection to moving this to January and letting these folks work out their needs? Hearing none, we'll take this up in January. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. You do have objection.
I do have it.
All right.
Roll call vote.
So we have a roll call vote. Commissioner Scametta, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell, how do you vote?
No.
Chair votes yes, so it's passed.
Chair, will you hold on one second, because Mr. Cook is trying to say something in my ear? Mr. Cook is telling me that we have yellow cards from folks that before we take a formal vote, even if it's a vote to defer, we have to give them an opportunity to speak. You do not have to speak today. You may waive.
Can you roll call them and see who's asked?
I'm assuming the Marston family and Southern Spirit folks do not want to speak.
Well, they're already here, so.
This is Southern Spirit.
And then there's a Mr. Robinson. I'm not sure if you're representing in one of these capacities or if you're individual. He waves. Thank you. Miss Alexander, I don't know if you're here on your behalf, yourself or one of the parties. Miss Alexander waves, and then Malcolm, or would you like to speak, or do you waive your right to speak? It means it's deferred until January.
Yeah.
At the moment, that's what their commission would like to vote on, is whether or not this is deferred until January. But before they could do that vote, we have to give all of the public an opportunity to speak.
Okay, yes.
Yes.
Yes. You defer? Okay, thank you, Malcolm. Okay, now, commissioners, I'm sorry, you may take back up the roll call vote. I had Commissioner Skrmetta as a yes. I had Commissioner Lewis as a yes. And then
Chair's yes.
Chair's yes.
Campbell's no.
Commissioner Campbell is no.
Now we have our last commissioner is back. Welcome back, brother.
Hey, thank y'all.
We got a vote. You know what we're voting on? Did you hear that?
I need a little refresher. I heard,
It's a vote to defer until January. They've made a deal, and they're going to come back and confirm it in January.
For the Southern Spirit
transmission- Southern
rehearing.
Spirit.
so it will be reheard in January?
No, they made a contract to settle it,
Okay.
and they're going to confirm it in January.
3 yes, 1 no. Campbell says no.
There's already 3 yeses?
Yes.
3 yes, 1
Okay.
no.
I'm going to stick with no if there's already 3 yeses, and it doesn't matter. So.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll take it up in January. They don't cancel it before time. We'll make a deal. Okay, thank y'all for coming.
Thank you,
All
Mayor.
right, I'm gonna say, we're putting the agreement in principle on the record for a reason.
Yeah.
So that we have both sides have some commitment as to what we're agreeing to. So all those terms are important, and
Okay.
we'll be included in
We
that
got it.
deal.
Good, all right, that's good.
Get it formalized.
Thank y'all. All right, okay.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
well, I guess the only other thing on that is, I heard them and they sounded good. I'm not saying word for word what you said is the agreement. I mean, it's just something you stated. So I just wanna
Kyle,
put
we've
that on
already,
record.
Oh, we got it.
it's over, man.
Let's go.
Go out there and talk
That's
about
what
it,
an
okay?
agreement in principle is.
Get to a
That's what we
conference
have.
table and go
Merry
work it out.
Christmas.
We need a motion.
Moving on.
to-
I think
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Green had some comments, and then we're going to motion to dismiss. We'll let him do that.
Yeah,
Mr. Green, you got the floor.
yeah, thank you. I want to apologize for being late. I'm a doctor, so that happens. But we got fogged in Baton Rouge, and so I'm glad we could come. I didn't want to miss the last meeting. And I just want to say thank you to everyone. The staff, I'm just super impressed with how hard y'all work and the work that y'all get done. It's thankless sometimes, but thank you very much. I think we very much moved the state forward. To my commissioners, I know we disagreed at times, but I'm proud of the work that we did, from customer-centered options to the pole viability docket to energy efficiency and beyond. I think there's going to be all kinds of new faces on the commission the next 5 or 10 years, and I just think the best is yet to come for Louisiana, but it couldn't happen without everyone in this room and beyond. So I very much hope that the work continues, and it will be obvious that it won't be dependent upon me, because I know it'll continue in a very strong fashion. And I'm very proud to have been associated and worked here, and I'm proud of the work that y'all are doing, and press on. God bless. Merry Christmas, and thank you. Motion to adjourn.
We had a motion in a second.
Yeah, we did.
We're adjourned.